is it just me, or is there something weird happening with single releases nowadays? Because I feel like there is. But what do I mean by this? Well, allow me to explain. Alright, so it seems like bands or artists, particularly in the metal scene, have been releasing either lots of singles or only two of them in the past few years, instead of the usual three. But now it's kind of gotten out of control, with a lot of bands releasing 5 or more singles. For example, the band Memphis Mayfire, when their most recent record was coming out, there were a lot of singles off of that album before it released, and it was almost half of the album, which kinda spoils and ruins the whole thing, don't you think? Another thing is, some bands release 5 or so singles before the album is even announced, and it's a year or so prior. Well, another strange thing is the only 2 singles thing that I just mentioned. Now, I don't mind this one as much, though I will say only dropping 2 singles and that's it. You've gotta drop them at least a few months before, otherwise people will forget about the full album. Sometimes bands or artists will release singles and not announce the album until much later, which to me it doesn't really make any sense. There's also some bands or artists who are shifting away from album releases and instead are doing just singles, which I think is not a great idea, because we never know when someone's going to drop a single unless they announce it, which doesn't happen often. And not only that, it can make fans wait a really long time for a new song. It also, just for a lack of a better word, seems a bit lazy, because why put work into a full-length album that lots of people can listen to for years to come, when you can just put out one song and that's it? All I'm saying is, it's a scary future we're looking at when it comes to albums and singles taking over instead of what singles were designed for, and that is to hype up an album release. Now, that being said, it does look like, at least for the time being, albums aren't going anywhere. However, it does seem like the music industry is embracing singles rather than full albums slowly over time. But what would be the solution to this? Well, it is tricky because, on one hand, bands or artists are absolutely within their right to release their music however they want to, but on the other hand, the death of album releases is not a good thing. So here is my proposed solution. Albums should stay around for as long as we live, and singles should only be there to hype up an album's release, as they should. And there should only be 3, and all 3 of them shouldn't release a year before. But if bands and artists don't want to release a full album, then perhaps just make an EP, and have it stay an EP. Now, yes, this is the way things were being done before, but it's like that classic saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, because honestly, nothing was wrong with this sort of thing before. But hopefully albums stick around for as long as they can. But that is gonna do it for today. If you have any thoughts about this video, be sure to leave them in the comments, and as always, I will see you all next time.